What's up, guys? Hey, I wanted to talk about something that comes up over and over and over when I'm talking to people about their investment properties, their house, their second house, even their first house. If they're moving, making a transition, and they aren't quite in the position where they're ready to sell, they're ready to let go of either a family property or their personal home. In this market, a lot of people are making decisions to sometimes hold on to their assets and figure out how can we make this work where we hold on to it. We're not ready to sell it. And so I want to talk about monetizing. What the word I would use is monetizing or cash flowing your house. And there's a number of ways you can do that, and people get all types of creative if you do some research online. But in Southern California, there's really three primary ways that you're going to make money from your residential property. Now, of course, commercial brings in all kinds of other types of income. But there's really three ways. There's either traditional renting, which is I'm going to rent my house on a month-to-month basis or on a yearly basis to a tenant, and I'm not going to put in furnishings or furniture. They're just going to come in. I'm going to sign an agreement with them and hope they take care of it and hope they're good people. And sometimes it's someone that I know, sometimes it's someone I don't know. But for the most part, I'm going to try and just know that I have money coming in, and it's very consistent. That's traditional leasing or just regular renting. There's two other ways. One that most all of you are probably familiar with is short-term rentals. So short-term rentals are also known as Airbnb. People commonly refer to it as, I'm going to Airbnb my house, or I know my girlfriend or my boyfriend or whoever is Airbnb in their house and they got $5,000 this month, or they made $20,000 this month. So Airbnb is something that is considered short-term because in California, everything that's more than 30 days, where you have an agreement with someone for over 30 days, falls under a designation of law called tenancy law. And it's something you want to be really, really aware of. If you're going to sign an agreement with someone for over 30 days, there are considerations and rights that the tenant has, the guest, it's actually a tenant, we refer to guests as anything under 30 days. There's rights that they have that you need to be aware of, either as a landlord yourself or your property manager better be aware of. So short-term is anything under 30 days. Typically, short-term rentals are going to make the best type of income, but they're also going to do the most damage and have the highest mileage on the house. They're also going to be fairly high risk. However, the risk is a little bit mitigated because you're increasing your income, and the reality is if they don't sign a 30-day or greater lease, you actually have the ability to kick them out if they do something that's in gross violation of your agreement. They don't have tenancy protections if it's under 30 days in California. So that's kind of a nice thing. However, a lot of cities now are actually regulating whether you can even short-term your house or not. And if you've thought about this, you've probably looked into it or heard from a neighbor, we can't even short-term, it's totally banned. Or there's a permit system, which I'm very familiar with in my experience in Newport Beach and in some other municipalities all up and down the coast. The third way that's probably least understood, and I do the most educating on, and I have the most experience in now, like nuanced niche experience, is something called extended stay rentals. Traditionally, these have been known as seasonal rentals, or they used to be called vacation rentals. Now, short-term rentals are just vacation rentals. But extended stay is 30 days or greater, so they fall under lease law and they have lease protections. However, it's for some period of time that's less than a year. And extended stay rentals are really great because they fill a niche that's really underutilized. Right now, there's a lot of people in this world that are very nomadic in their lifestyle. They're making income in all different ways, on the go, in different places. And whether they're doing that or they need to stay somewhere for a set amount of time, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, this market is really underutilized. And I'll tell you why. The key here is just a supply-demand idea. There are short-term rentals and there are long-term rentals. If there's a long-term rental, if someone gets it rented, it's fixed. They are off the market for a year or more typically. I think the average is somewhere around like 3.5 years, the average tenant stays. Like it's long here in California, mostly because people can only have their rent increase so far each month. Therefore, they want to stay where they're at. The other option is short-term. And there are only so many short-term properties because there's only so many where cities will allow them. And if someone is trying to make money with a short-term rental, if it's permitted in whatever city, If they have one booking, one weekend booking in the middle of summer, they can't take a house that's what's called they can't take an extended stay guest who's going to need 3 months. They just are off the market because they've already made an agreement with those people for that one weekend. In California here, we have people coming to the beach all the time. We also have insurance claims. We have corporate companies that need to send their executives here into Irvine, into the Irvine area in here, there, down in San Diego or up in LA. It happens all the time. And what they typically need is a place to stay for the average is about 50 days that they'll need. They'll usually end up staying in a hotel, and hotels are expensive. I have a number of clients who have furnished rentals that want to make more money, but they want to keep more flexibility. They don't want to give their house away for a year plus, and they want to make some more money. And what I've found is my clients that I've had experience with and my clients through companies I've worked with, they're able to make anywhere from 2 to as much as 3 times what the market rent is for an extended stay rental. And this is in a traditional neighborhood. We're not talking about, only vacation rentals. We're just talking about furnished rentals. So with those extended stay rentals, that's a third way that someone could make some money from their house or from their asset. It could be a duplex, it could be a triplex. And if it's taken care of, if it's renovated, if it has nice furniture, nice furnishings, then it's something where you can make money in any of these 3 ways, in any of these 3 methods with your property. It's something to think about. I have a lot more information on extended stay versus short-term. I actually plan on making some videos on short-term rentals, the pros and cons, traditional leasing and where that fits, because that's very valuable, consistent income every month. And then having professional management protects you from the risks of violating tenancy law in California. And then you also have extended stay rentals, which really are niche, but they actually work really well for the right owner that's in a transitionary period but wants to make some money and keep control of their property, and for people that need to come in and they're willing to spend more money for a nice house. So thanks for listening in. I'll go into some more details on these videos another time. Cheers.